Invision traditionally was one of the major television providers of ad sales through traffic platforms for programmers, syndicators, MVPDs. We have, in the last 3 to 4 years, really been focused on this convergence of digital and television. From our perspective, looking at how television was becoming more like digital, to be more measured with something other than the Nielsen demo, targeted, to be able to target to a certain audience. So we've really been investing in working with television companies that have the ability to do targeted television. Right now, the MVPDs that have that ability at scale to target an ad to a particular household and can sell it like digital does, impression-based, efficient to a particular target audience. So we've been focused helping sellers automate their platforms to sell it, and at the end of the day, if you can't get an invoice, if a seller can't get an invoice, they can't use a technology that they may have invested in, whether that's addressability, whether that's over the top, VOD, it's the same story. Until they have the ability to sell it and get the invoice, all their investment in the back-end technology doesn't pay off, and that's where we've come into play.
So where does this addressable delivery stand, and where might it go in the next 12 months?
Yeah, we've seen huge strides made by the early adopters of addressability. Addressability's been around for 10 to 15 years, but not until the last 2 to 3 years has there been the scale with the set-top box technology, but more importantly, the ability for the MVPDs to sell the inventory to the agencies with the same abilities that they have with their television inventory, meaning to be able to generate a plan, to be able to post, to be able to generate an invoice, to be able to, through their internal systems, ensure that the agency knows what they're getting. And so we've seen a huge scaling of the revenue around addressability, and the adoption now is going through the roof. We see a lot of the MVPDs moving aggressively to enable selling their addressable inventory.
And finally, about addressable inventory, is it just sort of the 30 seconds breakaway from the national cable? Is it more, or like, what is that inventory looking like?
Yeah, so right now it's the, on average 2 minutes an hour that a MVPD will get from the programmer. And they're taking those 2 minutes and they're either taking a portion of it, let's say 30 seconds of those 2 minutes, and deciding to sell that addressable, and maybe the other minute and a half selling it the traditional way as a linear 30-second commercial, and maybe part of that is direct response versus a general rate. So it's still a commercial message, except that it's targeted at a household level to a particular audience, a male at a certain demo, but making 100,000 plus that has a auto lease expiring in the next month. That's the level of target capability that they now have with addressability. So that's been how it's being leveraged now. In the future, we do see that they have the ability to address a message at the home. It can expand beyond commercials, anything that the set-top box can display, any type of overlay, any type of, they've been doing RFIs for a while through addressability, but the potential is pretty unlimited once they can insert at a household level.